Olá, boa tarde. Eu estou aqui no Centro de Estratégia da Universidade DePaul, em Chicago, convidado pelo professor Frigo, que é o diretor do Centro de Estratégia, Execução e Avaliação nesta universidade. E estou aqui por causa do livro Driven, um livro escrito pelo professor Frigo, e que nos fez conhecer há cerca de 2 anos em Nice. E hoje tive a oportunidade de ser convidado para vir até aqui e termos uma pequena conversa. Obrigado, professor Frigo, e até já.
We're here today at the Center for Strategy, Execution, and Valuation at DePaul University in Chicago. It's my pleasure to discuss return-driven strategy with Sandro Pinto from Portugal. 2 years ago, Sandro and his associate contacted me about meeting in Europe to discuss some of the applications and advantages of using return-driven strategy to help companies and organizations create greater value on a sustainable level. Let me begin. Sandro, first of all, thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much, Mark.
And my first question to you would be, and you've expressed this at some of our meetings previously, but what aspects of return-driven strategy do you find the most valuable?
I've got to say that I loved it all, the whole pyramid. If you ask me that question, I would have to answer that I was fascinated with the fact that ethics comes first. So for me, that's the real point. So the fact that if you're going ethic, that does not mean that you're gonna succeed. But when you're not, for sure you're not be able to achieve it. And that's part of me. And when I read it, and I said, okay, this belongs to me also. I like this, and all of the the basis of the pyramid, the fact that you should, in a disciplined way, to monitorize in a constant way all of the issues of the business. No matter what business it is, and you should do it in a monthly basis, in a weekly basis, on a yearly basis. So the basis and the top of the pyramid is absolutely amazing, and the heart of it, delivering the offerings. That's what makes strategy goes on to results. When you are able to deliver, when you're able to understand the environment of the situation, the business itself, and you think, how can I go through this strategy and execute this strategy in order to obtain some good results, in order to succeed, in order to give my customer more money. So the overall aspect of the pyramid is absolutely fascinating.
Yes, one of the things you said a moment ago, and was reinforcing some of our discussion earlier before the interview, was the completeness of the framework or the pyramid, in that it encompasses all of the possible strategic activities in terms of executing a value-creating business strategy.
Yep.
And as far as the ethical part, as far as the adherence to the ethical parameters, we know that companies that adhere to those ethical parameters and make a commitment to do so, they succeed, as opposed to companies that fail to adhere to those ethical standards. Of course, still focusing on a good business, right, in that context. In terms of the return-driven strategy framework, you mentioned 10 and 4, which is deliver offerings, and we call that tenet the heart of strategy, because it's really the point where the strategy gets executed and the value gets delivered to the customer. So you mentioned that a number of times in our earlier discussions 2 years ago and earlier today. So in terms of what you see as far as delivering offerings, how does that, as a consultant, as a business person in Portugal, how do you see that as so important to help companies in Portugal and in Europe succeed?
I can tell a lot about European market and especially Portuguese market and Portuguese customers. And there are a lot of consulting firms that just, they have a theory of how to put things in practice, but then they don't deliver it. So they think a lot, they do a lot of PowerPoint slides, but all of a sudden, at the end of the day, they don't deliver the strategy. So, and they don't get the opportunity to see the results out of the strategy they thought of, and they don't even try. And so, most of the times, our customers do not have, the means to deliver it. So we have to help them to deliver. They may understand the strategy. They may believe on our strategy. But if at the end of the day you're not delivering it by yourself, they may, it may stood up in your desktop. That's it. So you've got to deliver. And even if it is not the best strategy in the world, just put in practice and then go back to the bottom of the pyramid and start, monitorize the results. If you're not getting the results you're willing to, just try again. Try a different way. Try to innovate. Try to brand it more. But do it, okay? Just go on and do it. And then you can optimize your strategy, delivering it every day, every week, every month. And then even if at the first step that was not, the best strategy in the world, at the end, if you start doing the loop and start doing a disciplined monitorization, you will be able to succeed.
So Sandro, you mentioned the importance of 10 and 4, deliver offerings, and one of the things that we focus on in 10 and 4, and what you just mentioned, is that the strategy often has to be adapted or refined so that it's more executable.
Yeah.
In fact, in the book Driven, we use the term executability as a key concept, meaning that a strategy that is thought out but is not thought out in terms of its true executability is doomed to failure. And that's one of the primary aspects of 10 and number 4. So when we first met in 2015, about almost 2 years ago in Europe, you attended a conference, and we got to meet each other and discuss further return-driven strategy, its development, its applications, and so forth. Let me ask you a question. How did you discover return-driven strategy?
That's a really nice question. When we met at Nice 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, I was with Sandro Pinto, kind of a partner. We do develop a lot of business together. He's very, very entrepreneur, very smart guy. And we were having a dinner together back in Portugal. We are also very close friends. And he told me about Driven. Have you heard about it? And I said, no, I haven't. So I'll pick you one. And he bought me a Driven book. And he gave it to me, and I started reading it. And then he told me, okay, this guy is amazing, this Mark Frigo, this book is really unbelievable, and let's meet him. And all of a sudden we discovered you were going to Nice, to that meeting. And we didn't even think about it two times. We just, booked our flights and go and met you over there. And it was an amazing experience, and of course, without Sandro, I wouldn't be here by now meeting you today. And he's also using Driven strategy over his business. He's a very, with real estate, textile, and different other business. He's also very active, and we talk about, a lot about strategy, and that was how I came up with Driven book.
So Sandro, when we met 2 years ago and discussed it earlier today, I know that your colleague Tercio and yourself are well versed in various strategy frameworks that are used around the world, including in Europe, including Blue Ocean strategy. And Blue Ocean strategy has been around for a while, and I know that in our center, we actually integrate strategy frameworks like return-driven strategy and Blue Ocean strategy. We believe that, and we try to identify ways in which one strategy framework energizes the other and vice versa. So if you look at Blue Ocean strategy, in your point of view, looking at the pyramid briefly, where do you believe the fit is in terms of Blue Ocean strategy within the return-driven strategy framework, number one? And number two, how do you believe return-driven strategy or driven strategy can help extend the value creation of Blue Ocean strategy?
It's very clear for me. We've got tenet to fulfill and met customer needs. And that's the heart of how the link between a Blue Ocean strategy and driven goes, in my opinion, of course. Because this is the way you can find your own market, not the bloody market everyone is, fighting around, trying to cut down on expenses and trying to, sell for $1 less or €1 less. No, this helps, this tenet at Driven helps you find exactly where you should go. Try to find out what kind of possible services or products your customers are willing to, but they still don't know they want it. They still don't know. And we are the ones who are supposed to create and design, this service, this new product that can help them. And they look at it and they say, whoa, this is exactly what I'm looking for. This is exactly what I need for my business to succeed, because I'm dealing with a lot of trouble. My cash flow is horrible. I can't even breathe right now. I don't have customers. And then all of a sudden we can find out within the structure of the company what we can do to offer a new product, a new way, a new future. And so fulfill and meet customers' needs is for sure the heart of the link between Blue Ocean and Driven. Although we may also have a help from innovation that comes a little bit down, offering innovation. So try to understand what we can innovate from what we have right now. It doesn't have to be a disruptive innovation. It may be only a slight innovation, a slight innovative product, something that you can just, optimize a little bit, and then you're out of the bloody market. You're in your Blue Ocean market. And then, in my opinion, the other, the third link I can get from it, it's to map and redesign your services, your product, your team, whatever it takes, your company. So from the micro point of view to the macro point of view, you can, with the map and redesign services, then you can innovate, and then all of a sudden you are having greater cash flow, you look at and you have no competitors, you came up to the Blue Ocean.
Sandro, I know that Tocio is back in Portugal right now.
Yeah.
And he's a very passionate advocate of return-driven strategy. In fact, he introduced you to it.
Yep.
And he's also trained in the Blue Ocean strategy at the INSEAD Blue Ocean Strategy Institute. What do you believe his point of view would be? Since he's not here today, I'm asking you. In terms of the connection between return-driven strategy and Blue Ocean strategy?
Oh, he's a deliver guy. So when he saw he had this training at INSEAD, and when he saw this pyramid of Driven, it was very, very clear for us. I remember we were talking in plane just before we flight back to Tunis, that we could easily pick up on the tenets and try to figure out a new market. And it was in a very clear way, not only because you could find the innovation in your Blue Ocean, as I told you before, but I recall him saying that you can, every time, as far as you can define, you can measure your results, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and you can find out if everything is working. And if not, you're able to innovate again. You're able to do something different in order to achieve what you're looking for, to achieve your target. So, and he's also doing it. I'm pretty sure he's very, he has a lot of different business, very successful, and I'm pretty sure this is helping him a lot also, as it's helping me too. So
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Sandro. So, as you know, as you're familiar with the framework itself, it's a hierarchy. You know, the pyramid is a hierarchy, and it begins with the commitment tenet, which is, you know, ethically create maximum value, and that's driven by the goal tenets, which are to fulfill otherwise unmet need of customers, which are valuable to the customers and create value for the customers, and target customers groups that are growing, which give you a growth parameter, and then to innovate, deliver, and brand to achieve that, and then to do all the supporting tenets to support those competency tenets as far as innovation, delivery, and branding. They're all tied together, and the bedrock would be the genuine assets or the unique capabilities and that could be the corporate culture, it could be a lot of other factors that help the company to be a sustainable business that's not copyable. And then of course we have the force of change in the middle, which is significant now because we have a high speed, economic, technological environment we live in. In terms of the vigilance, the force of change, which is the center of the foundations. What are some of the significant forces of change that are going to create opportunities in Portugal and Europe, in your mind right now?
It depends of the business, of course. This is going very global right now. And if you're on the technological market, things are going much, much faster. If you're in the industry side, on the heavy industry side, of course, the winds of change, they exist, but the turnover of the frequency of the changing is less. So we have to be careful every time looking at competitive players. We have to take care of the shareholders, stakeholders. So depending on the type of business, depending also on the type of the businessmen that are, or the women that are in front of these companies, you have to be very, very careful within your team, always in a way that you can change your direction. Because if you find out in the middle of the ocean that you're driving in the wrong way and you have this heavy boat that, a lot of fixed costs and then you have to change your strategy, it will be really, really difficult to do that. And you may not be able to have the time to do it. So depending of course, on the type of environment, type of business, you have to take care. Right now, for instance, and I was telling you some minutes ago that I'm here in order to do a market research for a company, technological company, for CNC machines. And one of the main, worries we do have is the balance, the forex of euro and dollar. So if right now there's an opportunity, if something happens in the future in the interchangeable markets between Europe and US, then you may not be able to succeed. So you have to take care and be very, very careful about the way you're moving to the US market, because you have to get a plan B, an exit plan, because if something happens, if you're not getting the market here, you'll not be able to export outside because of the money balance. So for instance, I was trying to give you an example of it, and I guess the money, the forex, and politics between Europe, US, that may be an issue that we have to worry about. And of course, sometimes all of the suddenly you are trying to optimize your whole process, whether you're doing a product where you're very good at a service, and you open the news and there's an earthquake. You open the news and there's a new product from a Turkish company, from a Chinese company that are selling the same product with extra features with a lower price. So this is when you really have to take care about your business and the fundamentals of the business.
We've so far talked about the commitment tenet on the very top, tenet 1, and the goal tenets 2 and 3, and the competency tenets 4, 5, and 6. The supporting tenants on the bottom row, though, are very important, as you know, and I know you have some opinions on some of the value from addressing some of those tenants, whether they be tenant 10, balance, focus, and options, or tenant number 9, which is engaging employees and others. Would you comment on some of the supporting tenants and how you find them valuable in terms of thinking about value creating strategy?
I would highlight engagement of the employees, which kind of maybe the same of holistic communication. Holistic communication goes for everyone, for shareholders, stakeholders, employees, board, market. Let's communicate. Extremely important. People know what you're doing. People know where you want to go, so they can help you with that. But then engaging employees is one of the most important, and I would say one of the most difficult things to do. You have to align your entire organization, your entire department, the guys next door. So you need to be engaged. And right now, we were talking about the global situation right now. People are moving so fast. They want to go to a new project. They want to go to a new company. They want to go to a new country. So you have to engage them in a while, in an honest way, whether it's for 1-year project, 2-year project, 10-year project, but they have to feel extremely motivated and energized with what they're doing every single day. So if that does not happen, they will move away. And when they move away, you have kind of a problem if you didn't do it right before. And in the meanwhile, you have to make sure that they are extremely excited about what they're doing. They're happy at work, and you have to be very transparent, so you know if they're staying, if they're moving, what kind of options you do have. And I would also like to highlight the balance you should have between focus, and the strategic options. I call it the strategic options, because you can do it in different ways. You're in a company. I'm a consultant. So from the macro point of view, from the company point of view, I may try to go on a focus situation. Okay, we're in the right way, we're in the right direction, so we have to move on. But in the meanwhile, the innovation department, because the main strategy was innovating, so you have to go to strategic options because the innovation is not working. So you can balance it either with the entire company or in different scenarios with different people, different departments. And most of all, within the company, you should give it a time to, when you decide to go with the strategy, then you have to balance with the focus. Okay, you've decided something really important. It's a 1-year project. It's a 2-year project. So let's give it a try. Let's make a point of situation, okay, and then decide what to do. So when you decide, bearing in mind all of the options you have, you decide for one. You do not know if it's the best, but stick on it, and then put it in action, deliver it. So go to the market, deliver, engage your people, and then you start to measure the results within 1 year or within 2 years, and only then you should be able to see, well, should we move on a different direction, or are we gaining some success out of this? So this balance is extremely important, because if you're waking up today and you think, I want to go A, and then tomorrow, because you're not in a good mood, you want to go to the plan B, it won't work anymore. So you have to know when you should focus and when you should go on a different option.
Thank you, Sandro, for your enlightening discussion.
Thank you so much, Mark.